All right. We want to welcome to the program, actually back to the program. It's an honor to have him back on here. Gianni Russo, good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning. Thank you for having me back. I really appreciate it.
It was interesting because just a couple of weeks before booking this interview, I was mentioning to my wife and some friends, I said, man, there's one guy that I talked to once, and I talked to him, and I had read a little bit of his book, then I finished the book after the conversation. I'd love to have him back, and that is you. That book that we talked beforehand now has been followed up with a new book, and I find it quite interesting in the preface. You say, this is just a work of fiction except for the true parts. That's interesting.
Well, yeah, my lawyers, when they asked me to do a 4-book deal, he suggested you should write novels. If you keep writing biographies, you're going to wind up going to jail.
Well, I wonder after reading that last book of yours, Gianni, how come you're still alive? I mean, because so much that you, from Marilyn Monroe to The Godfather to hits put on you and other people, and then dealing with the cartel, I'm surprised that somebody hasn't killed you at this point.
Well, they're all gone. I outlived them. I'm 80 years old. Who's out there now?
Okay. Well, that's one way of looking at it. Now, when I jumped into this new book of yours, it's The Sixth Family, a Gianni Russo novel, book one. And it started talking about you and Marilyn Monroe, and I said, okay, I recognize some real familiarity. But I'll tell you, you had me captured from the first page, and I was like, oh, I've got to keep going.
Oh, great! That's great.
Yeah, oh, excellent writing, and your stories, and it just right away captures you. There's some similarities to the last book I read of yours, but you're taking different placements and actions and so forth on there. Is the whole book like that? Because I haven't had a chance to get through the whole thing yet.
No, I mean, there's new characters in different parts of my life I would not be able to write unless it was a novel. And at the end, there's an amazing shootout in New York that really happened. And, people got killed.
Yeah.
There's a lot in this book that if it wasn't a novel, I could never write about. And because there's no statutes on, those kind of crimes.
So this book, in a nutshell, if you describe to somebody, how would you say what the storyline is about?
Well, the storyline is basically, there's a couple of storylines. As you know, we talk about Marilyn's child that was always said to be out there. Nobody knew. We clarified who she is, not telling you her last name now, because she's married and living a private life, turning 64 real soon. And a lot of intricate changes in the mob and what's going on there. And the Sixth Family basically was the theory that John Gotti was creating, because the Fifth Family, or the five families in New York, didn't like a lot of things John was doing and going against the code. I mean, him making his son a made guy. John Jr. could never be in the mob as a made guy because his mother's Jewish. I mean, there's so much in this. I mean, I was already getting 5-star reviews. You go to Amazon, look up The Sixth Family. It's getting 5-star reviews already. So the book is, again, I'm blessed because of Pat and his genius writing, Pat Piccarelli, who's my co-writer. And I think we're on to something here. And we definitely have an audience. We're getting, a lot of emails and a lot of praising it. So it's... any author would want what we have. The accolades are phenomenal for a new type of writing of a novel, not a biography, and is being well received. So again, I thank your audience and so many audiences out there. But it's an adventure. It's a great adventure.
Well, your life has been an adventure. And I understand that it is now being put into a film. And are you, when that film comes around, are you going to start it? Because you've started in so many things. You helped put The Godfather in action, getting the family in New York to accept the filming of the movie about, the family and so forth. And you starred in...
Joe Colombo's family wanted to stop it. So that's how I got in the movie. If I didn't correct that, there would be no movie. and we will be having this conversation.
Right.
I don't know what I'd be doing without The Godfather, the movie.
Will you be in this new movie that's going to be coming out at some point about your life?
Well, we have a couple of major guys, and who want to do it, and the most creative was Mel Gibson, and he came up with the idea of Robert Downey Jr. playing me, which I had dealings with Robert Downey Jr. I put him in his first movie, Chances Are, after his rehab, and unbeknownst to me, so was Mel Gibson involved in helping him get his head clear and straight. Look where he is today. But to answer your question, he has the idea of Robert Downey Jr. playing me and me playing his father, which I love that idea.
Oh, that'd be great. That will be great. Well, like I said, if you're ever in the same part of town or the world that I'm at, I'd love to sit down with you and just talk more about your life, because it is such an interesting thing in this book called The Sixth Family, a Gianni Russo novel, book one. Like I said, it starts off with Marilyn. I always like the story that came from your previous book. You were sitting around the set of The Godfather, in which you played Carlo Risi. In that. And Marlon Brando, if I remember the story, was talking and bragging a little bit about, being with Marilyn Monroe, which you already had a relationship beyond just a physical relationship for years. And he was saying something, and you kind of chimed in, and he goes, well, how would you know? And you shared a little tidbit of something about her physically that proved that you knew her.
Well, it's so funny that I did a movie with Lepke with Tony Curtis, only to find out he knew that certain something about her. Mm-hmm. Sinatra, Marlon Brando. I mean, and then when I got to know her really, when I was with her, I saw that she had such a low esteem of herself, and she thought all she could do is to give back her body, mm-hmm. if you wanted it. And unfortunately, it's when you think about how she was abused by everybody psychologically, that's what the parallel her and I had early on, as me being queen as she was 31, because we were hurt, and we both needed hugs, and that's what evolved to a great friendship. I was with her the weekend before they killed her.
I remember that story.
And we were up in Cal Neva, and then August 5th, she was killed.
Yeah. We could go on, like I said, forever, but I know there's others in line to talk to you. Gianni, it's a pleasure talking to you. And again, I'll buy you a cocktail or an iced tea or whatever, and we'll talk some more if we're ever anywhere near the same part of the world. Thanks again for joining us on the program, and I look forward to finishing the book, The Sixth Family, Gianni Russo novel, book one. And I look forward to seeing you in the movie.
Please, thank you so much.
All right, take care. Have a good one.
You too, please.
Bye-bye.